So today we're talking about the unexplainable and God of miracles and just kind of how God's been working in my life and just things that I've noticed. And so I'm just going to start off. I'm laughing at the joke I have written down on here, but I'm going to start off with a definition of miracle. So it's extraordinary and astonishing happening that is attributed to the presence and action of an ultimate or divine power. And so I want to share with you guys my favorite miracle. Yeah, there it is.
Wow.
What? What do you mean disgusting? Would you guys be grossed out if I told you that I dip my fries in mayo?
Yes. Okay, that's not right. That's not right. My sister gets carrots in mayo.
Carrots in mayo? I'll try it. I'll try it, okay? I'll try it.
No, please.
Okay, just for me, raise your hand if you like mayo.
I just don't like miracles.
Okay, everyone look around to see the hands that are raised. Those are my friends.
Yeah, miracle and mayo and miracle are different.
They are, but you have to appreciate the miracle here. Okay, sweet Michaela. Okay, so I have first off, about a month ago, me and sweet Michaela went to the lake and we got to participate in the IF gathering. And it's just this super awesome event hosted by Jenny Allen and just time where we get to worship, grow closer to God, and fellowship. And so during this time, we watched a really, really awesome video. Why are you doing that? You're gonna make me laugh. I am just like speechless after watching this. When I watched this the first time, I just was like, I think my mouth was open a little bit like this. And then I just didn't know what to say. Like, that's not an old video. That is a recent video that she's interviewing this guy from. They're in, obviously they won't tell us where they are, but his identity's hidden from us because it's so dangerous. And Christians are persecuted so hard where he is. And he goes out into this no man's land, he called it. So in the middle of nowhere, and there's this hut, and he doesn't have anything. And God's visiting him in a vision and telling him the whole book of John, and he's writing it down. And so, God does really cool stuff. And I think sometimes it's really hard for us to wrap our mind around that if we haven't experienced coming through a dream. Like, we don't hear about that a lot, right? Okay, so I want everyone to open their Bibles to Acts 10. And I'm going to read, and I'm going to butcher some stuff, but just don't make fun of me. Okay. Chapter 10, verse 1. There was a man in, Caesarea, named Cornelius, a captain of what was called the Italian regiment. He was a devout man and feared God along with his whole household. He did many charitable deeds for the Jewish people and always prayed to God. About 3 p.m, he distinctly saw a vision of an angel of God who came in and said to him, Cornelius. Staring at him in awe, he said, What is it, Lord? The angel told him, Your prayers and your acts of charity have ascended as a memorial offering before God. Now send men to Joppa and call for Simon, who is also named Peter. So here's Cornelius, just chilling, and all of a sudden, a vision of an angel of God came to him and said his name. So just try to picture that scene if it was you. If you were just sitting there, and then all of a sudden you look up, and there's a vision of God, and he says your name. It says he stares at him in awe, and he said, What is it, Lord? I don't think I'd be able to speak. I think I would just be staring at him for at least an hour, and he'd probably have to say my name a couple other times just to make sure I was there. And I probably would be not there because I'm so confused. But okay, so that's what's happening. What is it, Lord? And so God uses dreams, visions. God came to him in a vision. And right there, God could have shared the gospel with him in that vision, right? But instead, he decided to, hey, go send your men, get a guy named Peter, and Peter's going to come back And that's what Peter did, is they went and got Peter, Peter came back, and Peter shared the gospel. God used Peter in a way to share the gospel instead of just telling him right there in the vision, okay? And so I feel very strong about this topic because I actually experienced a miracle through a dream. I'm going to stop looking at Cole because he's making me laugh. Okay, so I'm going to kind of share a little bit of my testimony. I'm going to power through the beginning half and get to the juicy stuff, but everything is just as important. And if there's something that you guys hear and you guys, I don't know, hits home for you and you guys want to talk more about it, like outside of Wednesday nights, I would love to sit down and share more. Just bring me some tissues and a Dr. Pepper, and then we'll get going, okay? But thank you. I'm so glad sweet some people laugh. Okay. Okay, so I was raised Catholic, baptized Catholic. I was going to put my first communion picture on here in a big white fluffy dress. I was standing like this. But I just didn't do it. Maybe next time. And so during middle school, it was about 7th grade, so your guys' age, my family left the church. We had a lot of stuff going in our family at the time. We moved. Our parents were going through some stuff. And so as a way to kind of get outside of what was happening in the family, I used sports as an outlet. And through all that, I got a college scholarship to play basketball. And so fast forward to my senior year at Truman, I got to a little bit of a dark place, we'll say. I was a senior. I was the only senior on my team. Basketball was super hard. I felt a lot of pressure from my coaches, a lot of pressure from my teammates to always performing the best. You know, they expected a lot out of me, and I felt like a terrible teammate. School, I don't know about you guys, but school does not come easy for me. It is really hard. I had to put a lot of work into it. It's not something that comes natural. And Truman's a really smart school. I don't know if is anyone familiar with Truman? Everyone always says, wow, it's really hard to get into Truman. And then I sit there and I'm like, who let me in? I don't know, but that's all part of God's plan. And so, yeah. And then on top of that, before season started, my mom went into a routine surgery on her spinal cord. And when she came out, she was in complete organ failure, and she was in the ICU for a while. And I remember sitting there with a conversation with my dad and a surgeon and pretty much saying that he wasn't sure that my mom was going to come out of it. So I was dealing with the stress from my family, basketball, school, and I kind of just separated myself from everything and put myself in a corner. And this is the crazy part. Brace yourselves. I started having these reoccurring dreams. And in these dreams, I would be in my room, except I would be getting pulled into the wall by a demon. I know that sounds so strange, but there was this demon figure pulling me into the wall, and I was almost completely submerged into the wall, except I had my hand out, and there was a little boy holding onto my hand. And the only reason that I wasn't going all the way in is because that hand, okay? And so I kept having these recurring dreams, which were really scary, and it kind of just made me separate myself even more until my best friend who I lived with invited me to come to church with her. And I hadn't been in church for like years. I mean, 7th grade to my senior year of college, that's a really long time. And I just decided to go. And it was not what I was expecting. The first thing I thought walking in, I was like, why is everyone smiling at me? I was like, there's no way all these people are actually happy. Like, this many people are that happy? Okay. And then I just remember pretty much crying the whole service. And then when I left service, I just remember, like, I felt like I could float off into the sky. I felt like everything has just been lifted off my shoulders. It was just a crazy, crazy feeling. And I go home, and that night I have the exact same dream. A demon is pulling me into the wall. I'm almost completely into the wall, except I feel a shift, and I feel myself like physically walk out of the wall on my own, just because of that strength. I mean, it's really hard to explain. I wish I could just like show you guys in my head, but just that the power that I had to be able to do that. And obviously, God was communicating with me that whole time, and he was trying to draw me close, and he was consistent in me refusing him until finally he was able to reach me. And I just think that's really crazy. I feel like I'm making it up, but I'm not. That really happened. And it's crazy that God communicates with us like that. God does really cool stuff, and he does. And he doesn't just do that as we see in the Bible or overseas where we don't hear about it a lot. God is doing miracles all the time, okay? I felt like I was going to cue another video, but I don't have another video. So, and so just to add on to, that's when I decided to have a relationship with Christ. And I always do point out that magically, you said delicious. Everything didn't turn out perfect after that, you know. Obviously, my mom still is sick, and I still am in school, and it's still really hard. But I have a God who loves me and who is there for me, and someone that I can lean on when I'm going through all that stuff. And honestly, an awesome part is like being able to be surrounded by awesome people every day that share the same passions as I do. Oh, Cole, you dirty dog. Okay. So he's the God of miracles, people. Now, I want you to flip back in Acts 2, chapter 5, verse 12. I'm going to watch you all flip. Shane just fake flipped. Okay, cool. Are you guys having fun so far? Woo! Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to read Acts 5, verses 12 and 16. Did I say 2? Yeah. I'm sorry. Oh, turn 2. Miscommunication. Cleared it up, though. Okay. Here we go. Many signs and wonders were being done among the people through the hands of the apostles. They were all together in Solomon's colonnade. I can't say that word. Colonnade? Colonnade? Oh, wow. No one else dared to join them, but the people spoke well of them. Believers were added to the Lord in increasing numbers. Multitudes of both men and women. As a result, they would carry the sick out into the streets and lay them on cots and mats, so that when Peter came by, at least his shadow might fall on some of them. In addition, a multitude came together from the towns surrounding Jerusalem, bringing the sick and those who were tormented by unclean spirits, and they were all healed. Did we finally find it, ladies? What verse we're in? Sorry for the confusion. Okay, so first off, in the very beginning, I'm not reciting that verse, I'm just saying the very beginning of this verse, many signs and wonders were being done. Okay, so keywords, many. Many signs, many wonders were being done. At this time, miracles were happening left and right. It wasn't like they're happening every so often. So often that they weren't keeping track because many miracles were happening, okay? It was a common theme. The next part, this is my favorite part. We're going to skim down to verse 15. As a result, they would carry the sick out into the streets and lay them on cots and mats, so that when Peter came by, at least his shadow might fall on some of them. Okay, so these people are like, maybe, just maybe, if we can be in Peter's shadow, we will be healed. Do you guys think Peter's shadow was just going crazy? Or what? Okay. Sorry. People who passed within Peter's shadow were healed, yes, but it wasn't his shadow. It was by God's power working through Peter. Okay, and it's really important. God didn't choose Peter because he was above us and his faith was far more strong than Nicole's faith, right? Okay, God chose Peter because he had faith. And I think that's something that we do have to realize. God uses people. He doesn't use people that are more popular. He doesn't use people that have more money than you or drive a nicer car than you, okay? God uses everyone. God used Asher in an awesome way tonight, sharing his testimony, and all the other kids that shared their testimonies. Like, God uses you for those reasons. And it's a miracle that we are here to hear those stories of God working in your guys' lives. So it's important to know that he doesn't choose people based on their level of faith, okay? He chooses people because they have faith. Next, I want to talk about, his shadow is the shadow that you cast, okay? Each and every one of you has a shadow. And is your shadow like Peter's? Can people look at your shadow and see God working in your life? Can they see God's power through you? Or is your shadow influencing people away from God? I think that as a Christian, we have an awesome opportunity to influence the ones around us. And I think a big part of that is at school. How many of you guys go to public school? Nice. Sorry, I was just looking at people that I knew went to public school but weren't raising their hands. Participate. Just kidding. Okay, yeah, that is an awesome place to project your shadow. Like, you have the influence of all your classmates, even your teachers. Just thinking of your shadow and who you are going to come in contact with. Can people look at you? Can your friends at school that you know that don't go to church, can they just look at you and be like, God is working in your life? Or there is something going on with them that I cannot explain. It is unexplainable. Can your friends at school say that about you? And what do you want your friends or your family members to say about you? One thing, my mom always says this, and bless her heart, normally says this when her and my dad are fighting, but she's always like, my dad will say something and then say that she's cranky. And then she'll be like, well, poop spreads, Dan. And I just think that's so funny because it's so true. That's probably the one thing you guys are going to remember out of tonight's lesson, isn't it? Poop spreads. Okay, so I know you've experienced, and maybe you've done it before. I'm guilty of it, but just kind of getting on a train of either being a negative Nancy or complaining. Complaining is so contagious. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but if you hear someone complain, like, your first reaction is to find something to complain about right then and there. Like, oh, this water is so warm. Like, why would I even need to say that? I don't know, but I did. Okay, so just realizing those things, and like that you control that. Have you ever been? Raise your hand if you've ever been around someone who, like, instantly just, like, being in their presence just, like, makes you smile or feel happier or just, like, feel more relaxed. You just have a great time. Yeah. Oh, that was so sweet. Thank you. I was just talking to an imaginary person. Yeah, so you've always been around those people. I mean, both sides. And so looking at that, do you want to be the negative Nancy that you're influencing people to join on that train where you just get on complaining? Or are you on the train where you're positive Polly? Sorry, guys, I had to. Positive Polly. Always encouraging, lifting other people up. By helping others. Helping others is also very contagious. Have you guys ever done a thing where you pay it forward? Yeah, doing that stuff is awesome too. Okay, so the influence that your shadow has at school, okay? Imagine just someone coming across your shadow and being able to be like, wow, God is really moving in their lives. God is doing something crazy in their lives. And that's how you should want your influence to be. And that's what you should want your shadow to do to others, is for others to look at you and be like, wow. Wow. Okay? Going back to the wow series. Wow. Okay? Next. Okay. These things that we talked about are not once in a lifetime things, okay? Miracles don't just come around every once in a while. Miracles are happening every day. What lens are you looking through in your everyday life? Okay? Are you looking through a lens of faith of Jesus Christ, or are you looking through a lens of a 7th grade boy who just wants to come home from school and play video games and not talk to anyone and be really unsocial, you know? Okay? Like, how are you viewing life? Is Christ at the center of your life? Because when he is, the way you see life is way different. You're going to notice the miracles that are happening every day around you. You're going to notice that, oh my goodness, did you guys see the sun rise this morning? Probably not, you're sleeping. But did you see how nice it was? It was a miracle that the sun came up this morning. It's a miracle that God created each and every one of you completely different. But here we are together, you know? And I think that it's really important to understand that God just doesn't do miracles every once in a while, but God is working in your lives, and God is doing miracles. You just have to see them, okay? And I think a big thing for us is, do you believe God is capable of miracles? Do you believe that he is the God of miracles? Are you praying to God for miracles? Or are you just praying for small things and thinking that, oh, God doesn't care about that, or God's not going to do something that big in my life, so why would I pray for it? I remember, I don't know, it was a couple months ago, but me, sweet Michaela, and Lauren were just all like, you know what, let's go out and let's just like sit and pray together. We were all at work and we were all having bad days, and we were like, let's just go pray. And I remember Lauren was just like, he is the God of miracles. Why am I not praying for a miracle to happen in my life right now? And why aren't we? And it's almost like, do we believe that he is capable of those things, that he is the God of miracles? Are we seeing the miracles that he's doing every day in our lives? And I just think that's something for all of us to think about. Don't let your small expectations put you into a box, okay? So pray for those miracles. Pray for those big things. Believe that he is the God of miracles, because he is.